Alright guys, so today I'm going to teach you guys Calc 3 from the 241 courses. I just took the 8 a.m. class. So Calc 3 is basically a 3D dimension calculus. Basically you're just going to get points in 3D points such as x, comma, y, comma, z. And in order to make a point, until now, you guys have learned a 2-dimension axis like that, which would be, this would be the x, and that would be the y. But for the 3D dimension, we want to have our axis with 3 lines. So the one that goes left and diagonal, that would be the x. This would be the y, and the z would be the one that looks at the sky. So let me erase this. Alright. I'm just gonna erase that, erase this. And let's say we have a point of, let's see, 3, 4, 5. So what you want to do, because this is the x, and this, when you go to the left, that'll be the positive. So 1, 2, 3. That'll be your point right there. And then the y will be there. And it will be 1, 2, 3, 4. And 4. You want to draw the line parallel like that, like this, and that will be your 3, 4 point. Now, how do you make a point for the z? We would have to go up, obviously, 2, 3, 4, 5, z, and then go like that, and then where it meets, that will be your 3, 4, 5. Let's say this point is A, so we will have A there. Hopefully this made sense. We're gonna go do some more advanced question. Let's see. Alright, erase all of these. Alright, so the question is, we have a sphere that is centered at 0, 0, 0. So we have a sphere, right? And the centered point is 0, 0, 0. All right. And also this sphere has a point that goes through 1, 4, 2. So let's try to draw this thing. We have a sphere. Okay, and we'll basically divide this into the axis that we need. Alright, so that's our sphere right there. That's the x, that's the y, that's the z. But the question asks, we have to find the inequality of x, y, and z with the upper hemisphere. So we're gonna basically erase the lower hemisphere. It's just gonna be right here. So just forget about these. Okay. Got it right there. All right, so we got only half of our sphere, which will look like this. And how are we going to express this sphere in like a simple way? We're going to say this sphere is also an upper hemisphere, but we can also say it's a sphere that is equal or greater to 0. Because as you can see, it's half. There's no sphere on the bottom. There's only sphere on the top. And z, when z is equal or greater than 0, then that's the sphere that we have. So before we get into inequality, the important thing that you guys have to know is the equation for the sphere. So the equation for the sphere would be x minus h squared plus y minus k squared plus z minus l squared equals radius squared. That is a very important equation that you want to know. So basically we're going to say it's centered at 0, 0, 0, and we have a point that goes through the sphere. We have a point where the sphere goes through the sphere point. So we can basically say that x comma y comma z is the same thing as 1 comma 4 comma 2. I'm going to erase this drawing for a second in order to calculate our thing. So now we can basically find what the radius is by plugging x, y, and z to 1, 4, 2 to x, y, and z. So basically it would be x squared plus y squared plus z squared equals radius squared. And it would be 1 squared plus 4 squared plus 2 squared equals radius squared, which eventually becomes 21, and r is square root of 21. So we have a radius, which is square root of 21. That's what we got here. And when we get the radius, we basically get one of the inequality that we needed, which would be the x, because when we look at the sphere, it would look like that. All right. So when we look from the bottom, and we look at the top, this is the x. So we know the radius. We know the x has to be negative square greater or equal or greater to negative square root of 21, but less than square root of 21.
Why would negative square root of 21?
Because that's the radius, right? So it's like one side, one side.
Oh yeah.
So
it's
a
because
sphere.
it's
a circle.
In third quadrant. That's
yeah, it's a third quadrant, and also it's a circle, it's a sphere, right? So you cut the sphere, and then you look down. There's like a circle, and the radius is negative square root of 21. So each side is 21.
Oh,
yeah.
The sign of like you're just maintaining the equilibrium, like by negative and positive root 20.
Yeah, basically. This is the inequality of x for this hemisphere. Let's see. The next thing we want to do is, we'll keep this drawing right here because it's pretty important. Let's see. We'll erase all of these. Alright, so the next thing we have to draw is pretty simple. We have to draw the second dimension, which would be the normal things that you guys learned before in Calc 2 or Calc 1. Let's see. We are putting x and y because we're looking from the bottom, and this is y. And it's a 3-dimension. So we're looking from the bottom, and it's a circle. So what we're going to see is that. So basically this is the bottom of the sphere right here, but we just drew it in 2-dimension. So the point of doing this is in order to find the inequality for the y. Basically we can say x squared plus y squared equals 21. And we can only do this because this is the radius squared, which will eventually be 21. And this equation is a circle, so if you guys didn't know. And then, in order to find the y inequality, we send the x to that side. Y equals 21 minus x squared. So until now, we found two inequalities, but we're missing one. It's dz. So how do we actually find the z? Well, in order to find a z, we have to go back to our basis of equation, which was the sphere equation, which I will write down again. It will be x squared plus y squared plus z squared equals 21. Now, this was our sphere equation. So it's basically pretty simple. You just set everything to the other side. Now, this could be positive or negative. So z is positive, negative, square root of 21 minus brackets x squared plus y squared, brackets closed. But one thing you guys have to remember when you're writing the inequality for z is that z can never be negative because we're only doing the upper hemisphere. And just like we said before, z is greater or equal to 0. But right here we have a negative. So when we write the inequality for the z, we basically write z is greater or equal to 0, but less or equal to square root of 21 minus x squared plus y squared. So these will be your three inequalities that you guys will need. So yeah, that was the